Welcome to my review of Penguin Wars, and this is the 2018 remake. I'm playing it on the Switch through the Yuzu emulator, and it's also released on PS4. There was physical copies of both games, but I'm just playing the digital version, through the emulator, and they should be about the same. But this is actually a remake of Penguin Wars, the old games that were on Famicom and I believe some of them may have gotten NES release, but they were definitely on the NES hardware, the Famicom hardware. There was one on Game Boy that I completed, and there's also an arcade version of the game, the original game. There was a sequel, Penguin Wars 2. All really difficult games that I never completed. They get quite hard. But I did beat the one for Game Boy. But this one took me a little bit over 5 hours to beat. And this one, what's cool about this one is they added a ton of fucking depth and different mechanics and things to the formula, and they really fleshed it out, which I thought was fucking great. Because the original games they were very simple gameplay, but very enjoyable, very good, and they got difficult really quickly. And this one does offer the challenge. This one definitely has a lot of challenge, but it starts you off pretty easy, but it will get gradually tougher, and that really it takes into consideration that your characters need to level up to give you a better chance. Because I can imagine a no upgrade run of this game would be fucking pretty brutal, or, I don't even know if it would be possible. I didn't even try to do that. You'll see there's a meter at the bottom of the screen in your main hub here where it says boss, and that lets you know how much more progress you need before you can fight the boss of that world. Once you defeat the boss of the world, you're able to move on to the next world. I think you may be able to go back to previous worlds and replay levels to power up and do things like that, but I didn't really do that at all. That hub world is where you also upgrade your character, and you get multiple characters that you unlock as you play through the campaign. So you'll be able to upgrade them individually, different stats, which I'll show a little bit later. Here I'll show some matches just to give you an idea of how the game works. So there's 10 balls on the field basically, and the idea is to try to get all the fucking balls to your opponent's side before they can get one out. So you want to get them all over there. And if you can do that successfully, you'll get a massive damage on the other enemy. So it's good to do that. But in this version of the game, you don't actually have to do that. It's not a requirement most of the time because they've upgraded the scoring system. In the old game, it was, if you got to get all the balls to the other side of the course where the opponent is, and then you win a match. In this, it's very different. They kept that mechanic in the game, but now it's just a way to damage your opponent. So if you get all the balls over to the other side, you'll damage them. Now here, you can pick from different challenges and different things on the main hub, and these will determine, various things. Like if you just want to power up your characters, there's better options to choose, better matches to choose for that. But if you want to actually progress the main campaign and move that bar up, that boss bar, to get to the boss of the world, then you got to do specific matches for that. So you get to pick what you want, and it's kind of randomized. As you complete stuff, the board kind of randomizes. And even events that were on the board sometimes go away and get randomized. So what's good about that is if you're having trouble on a specific match that you need to progress, eventually it may go away and you may get a chance at something easier that you'll be able to break through on. A lot of times you can also have like multiple matches available that will progress you in the main campaign, so it's not always just one. It just depends. It's kind of a roll of the dice what events you get on the main hub. You also have shop events that appear, and if you click on those, you'll get a chance to buy different fucking balls, which is pretty much useless, I think. But you can sometimes buy moves for your characters when you first unlock the new character after beating a world. Every time you beat a world, you unlock a new character that you can use. So you can see I'm filling up that boss meter, the yellow bar on the bottom, towards boss. And once you reach that line where the arrow is for boss, you'll get to fight the boss of that world if you want to. You can hold off on it and continue to power up if you want. If you're having trouble with the boss, you can do a bunch of side activities, side matches to power up your characters. And there's a lot of different variations, such as you have bombs here, which, you got to get those off your side of the field as quickly as possible, because they blow up pretty quickly. And also, if you get all the balls to the other side and the bomb on the other side, you can blow up the opponent as well. Now, in that case, the opponent took too long to get the bomb out of there, and it stayed on their side for too long, so it blows up that way as well. But there's a lot of little mechanics like that. There's spiked balls that if you peg the other character with the spiked ball, it does massive damage. So that adds a nice change to the events. Another thing is you want to try to stun lock your opponents by hitting them multiple times with a ball. Each time you hit them with a ball directly, it stuns them. And it gives you another moment to try to hit them again and keep like a stun combo going on so they can't recover. So that is, part of the strategy. You see the bomb blew up on my side that time. You can kind of angle the ball to like hit into the opponent. So there's a lot of strategy with that overall in the game. And there's a lot of different, like I said, there's a lot of different variations on the matches. The main idea of the game is that you're trying to progress the main campaign. That bar at the bottom that goes to the boss fight, you're trying to progress that and then fight the boss. And once you beat the boss, you're able to move on to the next world for a small amount of in-game cash, which you earn money as you're completing events. But there's a few ways you can win matches. Like I said, you can... the main way that this game works, it's based on health bars. So here's a little explanation I left in the review. This explains what some of the different activities do. If you're curious about it, it would go into more detail than what I'm explaining here, but... the way it works about winning matches is different than the original game. In the original game, like I said, all you had to do was move all the balls to the opponent's side and you'll win a match. In this, if you do that, all it does is damages the other opponent's health bar. All the balls on the other side will ram into the opponent and do massive damage to them. So that it's just one of the mechanics now instead of like the whole game being based around it. The main thing that this game is based around now is the opponent's health bar and your health bar. Whoever has the most health remaining when the timer runs out is the winner. And you can also end the matches early by depleting your opponent's health bar fully by destroying them, doing damage by hitting them with the ball or the spiked balls. Also, if the bomb blows up on their side, it will end the match, etc. So there's a few ways that you can do it. There's a lot of variations, like things on the field that make it harder to angle the ball, and there's a lot of different things going on. Like there's these mines that you have to knock these slow-moving mines to the other side, but if it lands on your side, it's instant death. So there's a few different variants of this whole formula, and it's done really well. One of the best aspects of the game is that you don't just have one move now where all you can do is throw the ball back. You have charge moves where you can charge the ball by holding it for a while, as you see me doing here, and that releases my special attack. In the case of this penguin, his special attack is just a straight shot, but it does a lot of damage. But each character that you play has a different charge move as well as a different super move. There's another meter at the top left. When that fills up, you get multiple super moves that you can unleash. It's really just one super move per character, but you can save up several of them in the bank and kind of bank them and use them when you need them for emergencies. For the penguin, it's a laser reflect that reflects all the balls back. So that can be really useful on tense matches or when there's tons of shit coming at you. You can reflect it all back and do some damage to the opponent, or it can save your ass at the end of a match. So that's a great ability. The penguin I like the best because he also has, this particular penguin, he has a dash as well, which is great for getting around fast and getting to the ball or avoiding damage. So you can dash a lot. Some of the other characters can't dash except for maybe one other character that I got. Not sure if the final character you get can dash because I didn't try him since you get him after beating the game. So basically you get the last boss as a playable character when you beat the game. But all that seems left to be is maybe an optional challenge you can do, which seems pretty damn hard. But aside from that, I don't know if there's anything really much post-game. You see me getting some stuns in here, but I got knocked out that time. Now some of the things that you can upgrade in that RPG menu are going to be things like you can upgrade. See now, you see that tornado move I did? This character does like a tornado move. But see, he doesn't have a dash, so he can't get out of the way easily. And most of the characters don't have a dash, unfortunately. I would have liked it better if they all had a dash as a standard move. I feel like that should be a standard move. But with his power move, he can curve the ball as well, which I never really figured out how to curve it. I mean, I know that when I do it, it curves, but I don't know really how to make it curve specifically to where I want it to go. But the characters all have different moves. One character, when he charges the ball and releases it, has a homing move where the ball will home in on the character pretty accurately. and that can really destroy matches where there's a spiked ball. If you use the homing attack, charge it with the spiked ball and release it, it has a pretty high chance of hitting the opponent and doing massive damage. Sometimes one hit killing the opponent if it's a red spiked ball, which those are one hit kills. So there's a lot of different variants of different matches and things like that. You see all ball attack, that's when you get all the balls to the other side, you get a damage bonus. Now in this stage it's a pretty low damage bonus, but it does add up. But you see when you get all the balls to the other opponent's side, you get that damage bonus. Sometimes it will outright kill opponents. It just depends on the match. So now this is the final boss fight. I wanted to show this in its entirety. So we'll see that now. And this was the hardest match in the game. It took me around 16 minutes to beat the final boss, but I thought it was going to take me a lot longer. For the final boss, you get to pick from all your team members. You can use them in any order you want. As they get knocked out, it'll cycle to the next one. And the boss, whatever damage you do to his health bar, you'll keep that damage. It'll save it, but if all your opponents get knocked out, you got to restart the fight. You see, you do very little damage to him. And I had my ball power pretty damn maxed out, almost maxed out, and just did very little damage to him. But each one of your particular characters, you can upgrade all their different stats. They probably have about 6 or 7 different stats you can upgrade. And one of those is ball power, which is one of my favorite, because that means when you hit the opponent, it does more damage. But there's things like ball speed, character speed, defense, which is very important. So all these things are very important, and you can decide which ones you want to level up. The good thing is you can refund any points that you spend on your characters to level them up, so you're able to modify them for specific matches if you want. So if you want, you could take some points out of some of your stats and build the ones that you may need for a specific match. So you got a lot of flexibility with that. But this is going to be the biggest challenge of the game. So this will be what you will have to beat eventually to be able to complete the game. And this was definitely the hardest part of the game. But the game is really well done. There's a really addictive progression to it. It's mapped out really well as far as the gradual increases in difficulty. It's really well done. Like I said, I would probably given all the characters a dash move. I think that would have been better. Because when you don't have that dash move, you just feel so slow. Even when you get your speed upgrade up pretty high, it just feels slow, you know what I mean? Compared to being able to dash around like the penguin can, the first penguin you get. So, I think that should have been like a basic move. Because I would find that when I had to use the other characters, which a lot of times you will have to use them, because your penguin will get knocked out, so you have to fall back on your other characters, or you'll be in a scenario where you're doing teams where one of your team members is AI controlled, but it's like doubles, so you'll have 2 on each side. So there's a lot of variations. If you did like the original game, then this is an easy purchase. But if you like games like Windjammers and arcade-style games, that are match-based like this, then you'll probably really enjoy this game. It's very good, and it's definitely not an easy game. I mean, it gets pretty difficult, but it's all very manageable. And I could have leveled up quite a bit more, on all my characters. Some of my characters just really didn't have much levels in them because I didn't use them. If you want to level up a character, I think it's based on what character you're using. I think they get the most XP points. So the main character I used was the first penguin that you get. So my other characters were kind of lacking in level. So when I had to play as these characters, I was moving a lot slower, and I didn't have the same kind of power and stuff on my attacks. But it was hard to to evenly balance everybody's leveling and everything because I didn't really use them too much. But yeah, there's really not many negatives I can say about the game, especially for what it is. I don't have any major issues with it, really. There is a little bit of a post-game, like I said. This is after beating the final boss. And afterwards, there was at least one challenge that seemed quite fucking hard for my current level. So I did see that, and you do get to play as the final boss, so maybe he's a good character to use and level up. You can continue to do, side matches and stuff and level up all your characters if you want, and you can try to take on that last challenge. Maybe I'll go back to it Aside from that, there's not much information about the game online, so I don't know if anything comes after that in the post-game. I also only did the main campaign. I couldn't tell you if the game has multiplayer or you know, like any other modes or anything, because I go straight for the fucking kill, so I was just going for the campaign. Now, if you're running this on the Yuzu emulator, make sure you set it to handheld mode on the actual emulator, because otherwise the game doesn't load. Now, by the time you see this review, it may have been updated, but that was the case when I played. Of course, that was on the Yuzu emulator. There is, I believe, a gyro, or no, there's another emulator. I forgot what the fuck it's called, but there's at least one other Switch emulator too. So, other than that, though, I mean, it's worth picking the game up digital. You can still get physical copies of the Switch and PS4 version. The PS4 version seemed to be the cheapest physical copy at around $15. You know, but that can all change. They delisted the game, I think, from all the digital stores. I think it was on PS4 Digital Store, but not anymore. It may have been on Steam, but it's not on anymore. So, as you can see here, this is where you upgrade all your different stats. I guess there's 4 stats, not 7, like I said, but you get the idea. These are all your characters. You can upgrade them all individually. So for me, this game's an 8.5 out of 10. I thought it was great. There's not that much I think that could really be improved for this type of game. I thought it was a really, really good fucking game. If you have any questions, let me know. Thanks for watching.